It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Announcer Guy. That's Sean Dolby. What's happening there? Give yourselves a hand. Yes, thank you. I appreciate the applause. The Geno Jones Show. I know you figured that out. You say, hey, gee, dude, we can see. We can read. Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that big-ass sign behind you. It says, The Geno Jones Show. The Geno Jones Show. So I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to everybody in Chicago watching me right about now, 5:30. My mother, my baby sister, Angela Jones, and my brother-in-law, Perry Jones. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye on mother, baby. I know you are, baby girl. And Geno, I appreciate you. Keep an eye on our mother. keep an eye on her. All right? Now, out on the West Coast, with my firstborn daughter, Lauren Hill Vaughn, and all my people, all my crew out in L.A., Andre Russell, and my man Ken Wilson, and all my L.A. peeps. 3:30 p.m. Subscribe, share, screen grab some of this video, get a video clip. Even I'm doing the show live, but it's recorded live. So after the show, you can go to my YouTube channel and just go ahead and grab some of the video clips, create a viral moment. You can create a YouTube short, put it up on any social media platform you like. Subscribe, tell everybody, spread the word. My goal is to get 50,000 subscribers by the end of August. So by the time the summer ends, and another 50,000, I'm going to do another 50,000 by the end of 2024. So we're going to do it like that, at least. I said let's go 500,000. So subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all my back episodes live Monday through Fridays, or binge watch any episode that you do miss. Shout out to my Aquarius is celebrating a birthday today, February 26th. Happy birthday to Miss Erykah Badu, 53 today. R&B legend and icon, the whole neo-soul vibe when she hit the scene, like in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Baduism, that iconic album. Check it out. If you never heard Baduism, check it out. It is like a classic, truly an R&B classic, one of the great R&B albums, period, in the history of music. So make sure you check that out. A comedian from the south side of Chicago, Chi-Town funny brother, my man D. Ray Davis. You've seen him in a whole hell of a lot of movies and his own comedy specials. Shout out to brother D. Ray Davis, 42 today. And here in the Low Country, speaking of comedians, here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro, friend of the show, you will be seeing a lot of him right here on the Geno Jones Show. Shout out to my man, Uncle Ricky. Uncle Ricky, celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday. Rick is legal today, y'all, so you can buy him a drink. You know, he can drink alcohol. He's finally legal. So tell him, drinks on me. Y'all buy him a drink for me. Hook him up, all right? And to all my Aquarius is celebrating birthdays, happy birthday. Speaking of celebration, let me congratulate the Queen Bee, Beyonce. So a couple weeks ago, she released 2 country songs. She's got a new country album, Renaissance, like the next chapter. It's coming out, I think, the end of March, or around the end of March. So she's doing this country music thing. By the way, for you all who are kind of tripping, you know, for all the racists out there, the MAGA cult members, and just the folks that just can't believe that a black woman, because y'all do know we got black people that's doing country music. You had black people doing country music. From Ray Charles did a whole ass country album, Charlie Pride, and I mean my man Darius Rucker, who has been doing country music for a minute now, from right here in Charleston, South Carolina. Folks like Mickey Guyton, Kane Brown, and I know I'm forgetting some folks. But now, so Beyonce, a couple weeks ago, she released 2 country singles, Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages. Those songs debuted on Apple Music's country music chart at #1 for Texas Hold'em and number 2 for 16 carriages. Then, like the next week, Texas Hold'em debuted on the country music singles chart at number 1. The first black woman to ever debut number 1 on the country music chart on Billboard's country music chart. Now, this week, Beyonce's Texas Hold'em. I didn't even realize that Billboard's got like a global top 200 music chart. So this week, Texas Hold'em is the number 1 global song. That's the whole wide ass world. The number 1 song on Billboard's global music charts, Texas Hold'em. Do the damn thing, Beyonce. And for those who are saying, well, black folks ain't supposed to do no country music. Here's a quick history lesson. Now, every day is Black History lesson, and every day is Black History here on the Geno Jones Show. But since February, the nation observes February as Black History Month. Here's a Black History fact for you that'll probably make, if you're racist and if you just hate the truth, then your head might explode. But that's okay. Hopefully that your insurance is current. That's all I gotta say. Your family can cash out the policy and bury your ass and bury the hate and racism with you. Country music, one of the primary, especially early country music, one of the primary instruments in country music was this thing called a banjo. Primarily a banjo, guitars, but the banjo, it was like the main instrument, especially back in the day. The country musicians would play that little banjo. And basically, it was a music that your rural southern whites kind of adopted. But where did they get the idea? Who influenced these southern whites back at the turn of the 1900s, early 1900s? Where did they get that musical influence from? And where did they get that banjo from? Well, did you know that the banjo, that instrument, was brought to America? No, they didn't find it in Appalachia. It wasn't in some mountains in West Virginia or Kentucky in the hills of Tennessee or somewhere in Alabama, Mississippi, or Arkansas, or even Texas. The banjo was brought to America from Africa. As a matter of fact, I think Mali is the country where it originated from. But yes, the banjo was brought to America along with our enslaved ancestors. And then our enslaved ancestors, they would, to try to just deal with the trauma of being enslaved and families separated and spouses raped and men, castrated or worse, or lynched, they would sing. And sometimes they would sing sad songs and songs that, because they were, sad and blue. And then they would get the instrument that they brought with them from Africa. And all of a sudden, then that instrument got a name called a banjo. And then our enslaved ancestors taught these whites, primarily southern whites, how to play it. And then in the 1920s, the music industry created a country music chart. But now here's the funny thing. No black person that was singing that style of music would be put on the charts. They wouldn't put any black artist on the chart. Only white people who were singing this style of music with using this banjo, and it was called country music. And you would have white country artists that would be on the country music charts, but they would not put any black people who were singing that style of music. I mean, there's a woman called Big Mama Thornton. Just Google her. So country music's roots is in Africa. One of the primary instruments that started that whole musical genre came from Africa. So Beyonce is just reclaiming country music. Not to mention that Beyonce is from Texas, Southern roots, and black people for years. My grandfather, I took Conway Jones. He would listen to a country music station in Chicago, which we absolutely couldn't stand. My grandmother hated it. Oh, Conway, why are you playing that old country music? He would sit up all night with WMAQ 670 AM and listen when it was. Then they changed the formats, but back in the day they played country music, and he would listen to it at night, and literally so all night into the next morning, the next day. So congratulations to Queen Bee. And big shout out to Dolly Parton, who many could argue the queen of country music. And Dolly is just really a cool person. I've gotten that vibe, her spirit, and I've talked to people. She was like, hey, listen, Beyonce, congratulations. I'm proud of you. She praised Beyonce. She said, listen, I'm a fan of Beyonce's. I think it's great that her song debuted at #1 on the country music charts. I can't wait to hear the entire album. Congratulations. Matter of fact, Beyonce, I'm sure you've already thought about it. I know you are smart, you're brilliant, you got some smart people. But if you really want to make their head explode, you and Dolly need to get together. Even one of the songs you've already recorded, go in the studio, Beyonce and Dolly Parton do a damn duet. That's how you do that shit right there. Beyonce and Dolly Parton. 9 to 5. Yeah, like redo, that would be great. I'd love to hear Beyonce and Dolly Parton do a redo of 9 to 5. That's the joint right there. Thank you. You're welcome, Beyonce and Jay. That one's on me. That's on the house. Now, if you would like to hire the Geno Jones, the Geno Media Consulting Firm, holler at me after the show, Queen Bee, Jay. Y'all holler. But that idea is on me. Beyonce, Dolly Parton. You heard it here first. Great idea. Somebody screen grab this and tag Beyonce and Jay-Z and her whole camp, Mama Tina. That is the hookup. If you all already haven't thought about it, but I'm telling you. And Dolly is already publicly praising Beyonce, so you got to do a duet. And then maybe do it with either Darius or Kane Brown or Mickey Guyton, because you're doing a whole album. Do a duet with them, but you got to do a duet with Dolly Parton. That would shut it down. They would go crazy. I love it. They would go crazy. Heads would explode. No, they're taking over country music. Oh my God, what's left? Y'all will be all right. Okay. So today's theme monologue. So my grandmother, I think the first person I heard say, I don't know if I heard my grandfather say it. I know I heard my grandmother say it a lot. And my mother said it to me and my sisters and I when we were kids. Like I say, if we were mad, we might get mad at them because they told us to stop doing something that we weren't supposed to be doing. Or not to do something that we knew we shouldn't do, but we were going to try to do it anyway. And they would say, don't bite your tongue, because I thought it was bite your, but you can't bite your nose. But they said, don't bite your tongue to spite your face. Because, you know, you get mad, you bite your tongue, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. That was like a metaphor. So don't get so mad at somebody else that you do something that's only going to hurt you. So, to specifically, let me speak to the brothers and the sisters in the culture, and to my progressive, my younger white brothers and sisters, Hispanic, and to all of my Arab and Muslim brothers and sisters who are feeling a certain kind of way about President Biden, including to all my Muslim brothers, my Palestinian and Arab brothers in the state of Michigan. You have a primary on Tuesday. Today is Monday. You have your primary, your presidential primary on Tuesday, the 27th, February 27th. And we've seen the video that's coming out of Gaza. You've got roughly 29,000 Gazans murdered. You had roughly 1,200 Israelis murdered on October 7th, which kind of triggered this whole, I guess if you want to call it a war, it's really not much of a war, it's a massacre. 1,200, 29,000. But listen, there are a significant number of people, especially my Gen Zers, some millennials, brothers and sisters, Muslim brothers and sisters, Arab brothers and sisters, Palestinian brothers and sisters, and even black, white, Hispanic, Asian, that just that believe in humanity and decency, and just see the slaughter of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. Even though we were equally appalled at the 1,200 innocent Israelis that was just living their life, that were slaughtered, and worse, well, not much worse than being slaughtered, but just the kidnapping. You still have over 100 Israeli, and I believe some Israeli Americans that are still kidnapped by Hamas, being held. No one in their right mind, no one who believes in humanity condoned what Hamas did. That was an act of just barbaric terrorism. It was barbaric, it was inhumane, it was demonic. There's no two ways about it. No excuse for that. But two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, the state of Israel has a right to exist, and so does the Palestinian people. And there's been talk for years about a two-state solution. That's a land that you all both share, for better or for worse. But now you have a racist, white nationalist government that's running Israel. Bibi Netanyahu. I've talked about it many times. He is the Jewish version of Donald Trump in Israel. Straight white nationalist, and anti-black, anti-Muslim, not just Palestinian, just straight racist to the core. Unapologetically, and the people he's got around him are even more extreme. And they've been saying the quiet part out loud in front of cameras with microphones clipped onto them. They want to drive all the Palestinians, not just out of Gaza, but to the West Bank, which is east of Israel. They want to drive out all the Palestinians in that area, which is equally as racist. Two wrongs don't make a right. Now, but what do I mean when I say don't bite your nose to spite your face? Here in America, upset is a significant number. Some of the brothers and sisters that I talked about, people are feeling that, Joe Biden, genocide Joe, because he's allowed our tax dollars to continue to go to Israel, because this country has, by congressional act, all the way back to 1948, when the state of Israel was created by Great Britain and France and the United States, which the United States and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, former president, he's the one that came up with the whole idea and concept of the United Nations. So you've got the United Nations, which came out of World War II. So you've had these countries like Great Britain and France and the United States get together and say, we have to find a home for the survivors, the European Jews who survived the Holocaust. We have to find a homeland for them. So you had Great Britain, who actually had colonized the area that's now on a map that says Israel, which if you go back to earlier than 1947, that a map would show what says Israel now on a map. That map the name of that area and that land would be Palestine. And Great Britain colonized it, so it was Great Britain, America primarily, along with France and the United Nations, decided we have to find a home for these European Jews who are survivors of the Holocaust. Now, before Palestine was before they made up the final decision to say, okay, this is we are creating a homeland for the European Jews, and we're going to call it the State of Israel. Well, before Israel wound up where it is now, Israel almost became where Kenya, did you know that? And Uganda. So Uganda and Kenya both almost became the State of Israel before the State of Israel as we know it now on the map became the State of Israel. Did you know that? Maybe you didn't know that. But yes, this is what happens when these world powers sat around in like 47, 48 trying to decide. So why do I share that with you? Is to get you to understand that every president, every administration, and every Congress, because remember, president, he just eventually signs off on the check, but he's not. Just think of your job. He ain't the business manager. Like if you need some money from petty cash or somebody screws up your paycheck, like, hey, wait a minute, you don't put my overtime on my check. Now, you can go to the president of the company, but he or she is going to send you to the business manager. So they need to fix your hours, and they're the ones that's going to have to make sure to put your money on your paycheck that wasn't on your paycheck. And that's what Congress does, specifically the House of Representatives. So the point I'm trying to make is that every administration since 1948, Democrats, Republicans, you name the president, name it, from FDR, from Eisenhower, Truman, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Reagan, first W, HW, Bush 1, Clinton, W. Bush, President Obama, and in the orange jumpsuit, jackass Hitler, and then President Biden. Every administration has supported financially the State of Israel in terms of providing money for defense. Nearly, you could round it off, say $4 billion a year. Really 3.8 now, it's about 3.8, just round it off. $4 billion a year. Now, you can say, well, President Biden don't send any money. Well, now hold on. It's not that easy. He can't just make a phone call and say, stop a payment on that check. No, because it's the Congress that authorizes this. Now, there may be some type of executive action that the president can do, but understand, when you get in your feelings about President Biden, you need to be in your feelings about whoever you elected, or even if you didn't elect him, who represents you, what United States congressional district do you live in? Do you know who represents you in the House of Representatives? Do you know who your 2 U.S. senators are? Those are the folks you need to have a conversation with them too. Because this is not a President Biden situation. This is a United States administration. This is a United States government policy that's gone on for 76 years. Now, as rightfully the anger, frustration and the anger with President Biden, as much as I get it. I am outraged. I hate to see, what I saw October 7th, that weekend, that Saturday morning, when CNN and MSNBC and BBC, the British, basically Great Britain's version of CNN, the BBC, live coverage of what happened to these innocent young people, elderly people that were the ones that weren't murdered, taken out of their homes, elderly people, women, children. I've got a daughter, 22, one in their 30s. You had young people at a concert, just living their best life, being slaughtered, murdered. I was angry. I was upset. As a father, it hit me like it was my daughters. Because I have a sense of humanity, and I could see my daughters in any young woman, from Israel, from Palestine, from Gaza, from the West Bank, from Ukraine, from the Caribbean, from Brazil, from anywhere on this planet. I could see the humanity and be outraged by the barbaric act. But then I'm equally as outraged to see so many innocent women, children, and people in general who are not part of Hamas, who didn't have any say about Hamas because Hamas hasn't held elections in over a decade. So you've had a group of people, Hamas, basically terrorizing their own damn people, and that's got to be a special place in hell for people who would use their own people as human shields. But then there's equally got to be a place in hell who doesn't see the humanity of a group of innocent people and to punish a group of innocent people who have no power and no control that you have you ruled over in Gaza, that you have control over their movement and their life. They can't even come and go really like they please without a whole bunch of red tape. And to the west of them was like, I think it's the sea. I can't think of the name of it. They don't even have control of the waterways that the Israeli government controls everything around them, the air, the land, and the sea. The Israeli government controlled the water, the drinking water that went into Gaza, the power, the electricity. Then to shut all that down, and for 29,000 people and counting who are not part of Hamas, two wrongs don't make it right. But the same hatred, because really, it's just in different forms. The same hatred that would allow Hamas to act in a barbaric way is really, hate is hate. It may originate from a different source. It's the same kind of bigotry and racism that Benjamin Netanyahu and his far right-wing government have engaged in murdering thousands of innocent people in Gaza who had nothing to do with Hamas, and innocent women and children. Well, that same kind of hatred exists in the dude as I call Orange Jumpsuit Hitler. Yeah, that dude. The same hatred, the same viewing, looking at people of color as less than and so shallow. For this dude to come in this state over the weekend, up about 120 miles from where I'm standing now, and to say that black people are supporting me because I'm a criminal. Black people can relate to me because I've been indicted 91 times. And that black people are supporting me because I've released these cheap-ass, bootleg-ass, wannabe knockoff, not even bootleg Jordans, some bootleg Pro-Kid gold shoes with a damn U.S. flag on the side with a big T on them. That'll get black people to love me and to support me and vote for me in large numbers, because black people love sneakers, and because black people can relate to me because I done caught 91 felony charges. What is it? Is that telling you what he thinks about you and me? And the same man is being supported by a group of white Christian nationalists, straight anti-black, really anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim, anti-queer, if you're not a white evangelical Christian that worships at the altar of their, as they call them, orange Jesus. Their orange, not my terms. I've heard them refer to this dude this way. You're talking about blasphemy and idolatry. And you call yourselves Christians? What Bible were you reading? What Jesus were you following that supported hate and bigotry and the exploitation of poor people? As a matter of fact, the Jesus y'all claim to worship, he was walking with the poor, those who have been cast aside, the people that society frowned upon. He even caught hell from it because he was among the lesser thans, like I said, those who were poor, who didn't have anything, who were rejected, the prostitute. We could go on. Jesus didn't judge them. He embraced them. He walked among them. He prayed not just for them, but with them. And I can't even tell you the last time I went to Bible school. And I know that. And y'all claim to be so, all just pure, pray to God, go to Bible study, evangelical. I'm a true Christian watching TBN. Good luck with that remix version of Christianity that y'all are practicing. The same Christianity that supports anti-blackness and the suppression of women, that are telling women in a state like Missouri, if they are pregnant, even if they are a victim of domestic violence, that they cannot divorce their husband until the baby is born, even if they're in a relationship, and if they are a victim of domestic violence. Don't take my word for it. You can Google it. The state of Missouri has a law on the books to where if a pregnant woman wants to get a divorce and is currently a victim of domestic violence, she cannot divorce that person, that domestic, animal, the person who is beating the shit out of her. She can't leave him. She can't legally divorce him until she has the baby, if he doesn't kill her and the baby. And this is the ideology that Project 2025 has in writing. They want to have a federal law. They want to get rid of no-fault divorce and to make it where, make it harder for women to get divorced. And if they're pregnant, you can't divorce your husband, no matter how abusive he is. And the same people, just Google, download Project 2025. I've been talking about it for months. They have a plan to basically take this country back to 1850, to militarize local police. So if you're having a peaceful protest, like after what happened with George Floyd, but they only want to militarize the police, which means they want to send the United States military. They want to send Army Rangers. They want to send the U.S. Marines to cities like Chicago. Now, they don't name some little small rural town, not like Cedar Rapids, Iowa, not Lincoln, Kansas. No, we want to send the U.S. Marines and the Army Rangers to police those terrorists, those blacks in Chicago and Detroit and New York City, up in Harlem and the Bronx, Brooklyn and the Bronx, and Philadelphia and Atlanta and Houston and Dallas and St. Louis and Memphis and Los Angeles and Oakland and Birmingham and New Orleans. You can read it for yourself. Google Project 2025. So I know I've heard people say, I can't vote for Joe Biden and the Democrats because they've allowed Israel to just engage in genocide and they've supported genocide. Let me be honest with you. I need you all to please listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, that Bibi Netanyahu was going to do what the hell he wanted to do. Because the truth is, President Biden has been for months, and the people around President Biden, Secretary of State, everybody, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, before he got sick in December, they've all gone to Israel multiple times. Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, and now President Biden is saying the quiet part that he said behind doors, that this has gone far enough. Do not go into the city, Rafah, which is the southern part of Gaza, where Netanyahu and his government sent all the Gazans, because get out of Gaza City, go there or you're going to get bombed. And now you want to send tanks into that little small city? And President Biden is saying, no. Listen, not. But what you have to understand is, once again, the Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, is your Israeli version of Donald Trump. He don't like Joe Biden. He's hoping to do exactly what he's doing, to get enough people, black and brown and fair-minded white folks, pissed off, who want to have a democracy and don't want to turn this country over to a dictator, trying to get enough of you all pissed off so you will bite your nose or you will bite your tongue to spite your face. Well, I just can't vote. Because if you don't vote, you are actually voting for Orange Jumpsuit Hitler. You are absolutely. Because the MAGA cult that wants to take this country to 1850, the same mentality that existed, that allowed the U.S. government and the president right around close to the end of World War II to issue an executive order to lock up and to put inside of open air cages in Arizona Japanese Americans after Pearl Harbor was attacked in Hawaii in 1945, and they rounded up Japanese Americans who were born and raised here, but because they had Japanese ancestry. This country locked up its own citizens and put them in open-air internment camps, like concentration camps. And the only thing they didn't do was to take them to gas chambers and gas them to death. This is the mentality of this MAGA cult. And don't take my word for it. You can just download Project 2025. So, for all those in Michigan and all around America, and you're upset with the Democrats and you feel they have, they've taken folks for granted. This is not about Democrats. This is not about President Biden. This is not about a person. This is about your preservation, your survival. It's about harm reduction. It's about the safety of not just you, but your family. You, your wife, your husband, your son, your daughter, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your co-workers, folks that you go to church with. Because their plans, and they're not trying to hide the plans, they got them out in the open where you can download them yourself. You can download them and save the PDF on your own computer. They're telling you exactly, got the plans already laid out. And Trump is just the figurehead who will be on mad revenge, who's mad at Fonnie Willis, who's eventually going to find his ass guilty of some stuff, who's mad at Letitia James, the state's attorney in New York State, that's about to seize some of his properties unless he can come up with $500 million, like in less than 30 days. He probably got about 10 days, maybe max, to either put up that bond money or she's already said, I'm going to start seizing some of these buildings in Manhattan. And then this prosecutor in New York City, Alan Bragg, who's about to bring him up on some other charges. So you can imagine, even though he's talked about, black people really are, they support him. Black people are embracing him and supporting him because he's got 91 felony charges. Believe me, if he gets back in office, what he's going to unleash on black people and brown people, he issued a Muslim ban day one in office. They got another, not just a Muslim ban that they will reinstate. They got a plan to deport 1 million, like within the first couple of weeks probably, to a month, deport 1 million brown and black people. They're not going to deport folks that's come from Europe, from Ukraine, or Sweden, or Finland. No, they're not going to deport Eastern Europeans. They're not going to be deporting white people. They'll be deporting brown and black people. So, once again, don't bite your tongue, just bite your face. Thank you for watching, everybody. God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab some of this. You can go ahead and get a video clip or multiple clips and put them up, create a YouTube short, or just grab a video clip and make them go viral. Put them up on any social media platform you like. Shout out to everybody. Hey, Lisa Davis, how are you? Happy birthday, Uncle Ricky. Yes, my mother's watching. Everybody else is watching me live. I appreciate you guys so much. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show, the CEO of Designer Cuts, I should say. Actually, that is a name. But it's not a barbershop. It's a barbering palace. Designer Cuts here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro area. Check them out on IG, on Instagram. Kel Be Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones is the drip director, the official wardrobe consultant, stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check her and her collection out. Her LX.NCL _ on Instagram, on IG. LX.NCL _ is that little dash at the end of the second L. I'll see you live. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I got to send out a big shout out to my radio sister, Savannah J., radio and TV star, multimedia star, who is filling in for me. I am on vacation from my radio show here on Star 99.7. You can check it out online, just star997.com. 10 a.m. until 3 Eastern Time, 7 a.m. until noon on the West Coast, 9 a.m. until 2 Chicago time. She's guest starring for me, holding it down. So thank you, sis. I love you. I appreciate you. All right, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's make this episode go viral. You got a lot of clips to choose from. Put it up, create a YouTube short. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you live Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.